Hello and welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast, hosted by me, Joanne Murphy. Whether you are an athlete, adventurer, endurance enthusiast, or simply have an interest in sport, you have come to the right place for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, and as always, plenty of entertainment. How are you this week? It's been a bit wild on the weather front, but I have to say it's great to see a fine stretch at both ends of the day. It may not feel like it with all the wind and rain, but summer isn't too far away. I worked my first in-person real-life gig last Saturday at the RTE Operation Transformation 5K in the Phoenix Park, a fun, friendly and completely heartwarming event, with the majority of the 5,000 participants completing their first ever 5K. I don't think I've ever seen so many people so happy crossing a finish line with the biggest smiles on their faces. It was such an uplifting event. The weather was less than ideal, but everyone embraced it and enjoyed it completely. The Operation Transformation leaders John, Stefano, Katie, Sarah and Kathleen were superb, with each of them completing their 5K in style. There was lots of emotion on the finish line as their families and supporters welcomed and congratulated them across the line. It really was a great morning and so good to get this year's announcing season started. In other news, the Bike Ballinrobe Ultra, due to take place next month, was cancelled last week, which really is a pity and now leaves a gap in my calendar for racing. It's back to the drawing board to see what I might do instead. With lots of announcing booked in for the next few months, it's difficult to find a suitable gap in the diary to allow me to firstly find a race on a weekend I'm not working, and then find a race that allows me a clear run to the race date without lots of travel and back-to-back weekends of working. First world problems, I know. So I've started back running again and plan to start swimming again as well, not just dipping in the sea. So we'll see where that might take me. Maybe there is a triathlon in my future for 2022. #watch this space. In the meantime, I'm jumping on the gravel bike bandwagon and have signed up to back-to-back gravel races this weekend. Saturday, I'm doing the final race of the Galway Bay Cycling Club Bog Trials, and then Sunday, I'm heading to Newport in Mayo for the Race Face event's Rocky Mountain High Enduro-style 40k event. That should keep me out of trouble for the weekend. Maybe not. There's been plenty going on behind the scenes at TTS HQ for the past few weeks. First up, we have teamed up with Gillian Mooney of Team Joe Barr to deliver a performance nutrition event on March 2nd for female cyclists. There are only a handful of places left for this virtual event, so be sure to sign up sooner than later. This weekend sees the February edition of the Castle Race Series virtual races. With 14 events to choose from across swim, bike and run, you are spoiled for choice in choosing a virtual race. Now, I've got a 25% discount for all Castle Race Series events in the UK and for Lough Cutra Castle Triathlon in Galway. If you use the code TTS252022, all numbers, you can avail of the discount. You can find all details for the performance nutrition event and the details for the Castle Race Series and Lough Cutra Castle Triathlon discount over on trytalkingsport.com. Finally, I've teamed up with the crew from Nuasan, the natural Irish-made skin and body care company based in Salthill in Galway, who have been big supporters of what I've been doing over the past few months. I have been using their skincare products in recent weeks and am in love with them. Their Active CBD Muscle Gel is my new favourite recovery product. With all the biking I've been doing the last few weeks, the gel has helped my legs no end and is such a lovely treat to use after a hard training session. Check out the products on www.nuasan.com, that's nuasan.com. Use the code TTS15 to get 15% off purchases on the site. Now to this week's guest. Irish Elite Triathlete Erin McConnell is a multiple national champion and Junior Triathlete of the Year who has been embracing a life in sport from an early age. Swimming from the age of 4, she joined the Triathlon Ireland Youth Squad at 15 and hasn't looked back since. Racing at home and abroad with some impressive results, she continues to pursue her dreams and life in sport. In June of last year, she raced in the Europe Triathlon Aquathlon Championships, where she took home a bronze medal in the elite women's race and a silver medal in the under-23 women's race. An important result for the then 20-year-old Newtownards athlete who is hoping to secure a start at the Commonwealth Games later this year and has her eyes firmly set on Olympic qualification for Paris 2024. Other impressive results from the young athlete include Sprint Triathlon National Champion, Elite and Junior Women in 2019. She finished third in the Triathlon Ireland Aquathlon National Championships in the same year. In 2018, she took home the silver medal in the Triathlon Ireland Elite Women's Sprint Triathlon National Championships and claimed the bronze medal in Bucharest in the ETU Triathlon Junior European Cup. Balancing her training, college life and working to support the pursuit of her ambitious sporting goals is almost a full-time job in itself, but she has fully committed to chasing her goals and living the lifestyle to support them. Erin McConnell is a dedicated and determined athlete. Behind her steely determination is also a desire to have fun and enjoy the process. embracing the opportunity to follow a passion for a sport that she enjoys to the full. Watch this space. Erin has the world at her feet and is ready to soar and fly the flag for her club and country on the international stage. Grab a cuppa and enjoy the show. It's a great one. Erin McConnell, welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast. Finally getting to chat with you between your busy schedule, my not so busy schedule, back to your busy schedule. We finally managed to get ourselves together today on Wednesday, the 9th of February. You're so welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
So where in the world are you and what have you been up to for the past couple of weeks?
So I'm at home at the moment. I have just had COVID, which is not so good, but I'm glad that I have it kind of over and done with and hopefully not going to catch it again. I'm lucky that I'm at home and not away somewhere, getting locked up in a room. But yeah, no, just back to kind of slow training and building it back up again.
What have you been doing for the past few days in isolation? Have you been Netflix binging or have you been studying and doing your dissertation? What have you been up to?
Honestly, I have been doing my dissertation. I've just been trying to crack away at it and get some of the stuff done. As much as I didn't want to do it, I just thought can get loads of it done now, then yeah, it's done and dusted. So yeah, been just kind of doing that.
So are you telling me you did not watch one episode of anything on Netflix over the past 7 days?
Maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Cheer, but other than that, I swear I did my dissertation.
If anyone asks you were doing your dissertation, for the listeners who don't know who you are, now many of our Irish listeners will of course know who you are, but for those who don't, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in sport.
So I've loved sports. I was, no age. Yeah, and I started triathlon when I was 15 and did my first triathlon when I was 16. I was always involved in swimming. So I come from a swimming background and then just kind of ran for fitness for, swimming kind of in general. I was also an Irish dancer. I went to the World Irish Dancing Championships in Glasgow. I think that might have been maybe 2010. I love a bit of Irish dancing, and I'm not sure, there's a video floating about on Instagram somewhere from the Irish dancing in Lanzarote. I just love doing sport and stuff, and then triathlon has just become such a big part of my life.
Swimming from the age of 4, so those early mornings have been part of your life a long time. What age are you now? 21?
Yeah, 21. Everyone kind of says to me oh my days, I don't know how you get up that early. And yeah, okay, I'm finding it a little bit harder now, just with loads of stuff going on, uni, work and stuff. But I think even before, when I had such a schedule of, getting up, going swimming and then going to school when it was specific times, I think it just became a routine, and that was my uptime anyway. And it actually set me up for the day, even before exams or anything like that. It didn't bother me going swimming. It was kind of a clear your head sort of thing, set you up for the day and then off to school. Now it's kind of nice because I do have a little bit more time to kind of nap as well, which I'm trying to maybe focus on a little bit more this year, just with uni and stuff. But yeah, no, I actually like the early morning to got it done and dusted. And then my dad was kind of coaching at that time as well, so I kind of had him to get up with at the same time, and yeah, off we went to swimming. So yeah, it's good.
I think anything before 6 o'clock in the morning is the middle of the night. So what time do you get out of bed in the morning?
So we're in the water at 5:30, so kind of pre-pill at about 5 o'clock, so 20 to 5.
And what time do you go to bed at night?
It depends again on uni work and what I'm doing and training wise, but I try to get into bed for about 9:30, 9:45. If not, try to be asleep for 9:30, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say 9:30, 9:45 is quite late for somebody who's getting up at 4:30, 20 to 5 in the morning. It's a bit late.
It is, yeah.
You mentioned that your dad was coaching as well. So were your mum and dad very sporty as well when you were growing up? Was that a big influence in your life in terms of you getting involved in swimming and triathlon?
Yeah, I think definitely my dad, because he was always involved in swimming. And I think that's obviously where, although swimming's good to learn when you're younger, I think that's obviously where it kind of came from. And he was always swimming and running and stuff. And he competed whenever he was younger. And then my mum, she is into the horses, so she does a lot of cross country and show jumping and everything with 2 horses that she has, so she loves that. But yeah, we're all kind of sporty and love kind of little adventures and activities and stuff. Yeah,
I suppose that the trend is that when you reach a certain age, definitely for female athletes, they kind of fall back out of sport. But at 15 years of age, you were just getting stuck into triathlon. Do you think is that what kept you in sport? So it wasn't just the swimming, it was now this whole new world of triathlon and a whole new world of opportunity and sport and friends and I suppose community.
Yeah, well, I do think that like at that stage, I had a bit of a brick wall in swimming, and I was remember trying to like chase times for like Europeans, and it was kind of junior Europeans at that time and EYF, and I wasn't getting those times, and there was girls that kind of were getting the times, or actually girls that were focusing more in school and didn't actually want to swim anymore. So I lost like a lot of friends that way who didn't want to go training anymore, or the ones that then got their times. And I think for me, even now, like getting that little bit older and seeing the ones in the swimming clubs and stuff dropping off, I think that's where I kind of want to try and come in and inspire those younger ones and be like, try something new, like, or just go to swimming for fitness and for your friends, like, and try and like swimming, especially because of those early mornings. And then there's also like ones getting older and they want to go out partying, which meaning like can't like go, get up early in the morning. You can't do that to your body. So yeah, like I think that's where I'd like to try and inspire younger ones to keep going and do it for fitness, whether you kind of don't want to compete at it anymore or anything like that. Like just keep trying and keep training.
The important thing really is that you look at it more holistically, that a lot of people they're trying to study, they're trying to race, they're trying to train, they're trying to hit numbers and targets across the board, and we lose the fun element out of it all.
100%. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think at that stage as well, for me, like I lost the fun out of it, and that's when I did turn around. Like triathlon then became my savior, but I did turn around and I was like, I don't want to do swimming anymore, and I think that's okay. And there are ones like there's a few little ones I've been, like I say, little ones with they're 15 and stuff now, but they're nearly little ones to me. And they actually, I've spoken to a few of them, the ones that have kind of come to me and said like, oh, I'm going to give up. And I'm just kind of like, no, like don't do it. And I know there's a few that are actually looking to try out triathlon. And it's not for everyone. It's just like, it's hard. But there's also that enjoyment kind of factor in it as well. Like you don't have to want to compete in it. Like there's nothing wrong with just wanting to get a bike or cycling for cake and all of that jazz. Yeah.
So, did you just say cycling for cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Totally. It's the only reason I cycle my bike. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's good enough for Nicholas Roach to go for a cycle for cake, then it's good enough for me and you, to be quite honest.
Yeah, definitely. Cake and a coffee. And it's really bad, the fact that I literally know nearly all of the coffee shops now. I'm like, oh, that one there does nice caramelitos. That one there does nice carrot cake. But no, sometimes it's good and sometimes not so good.
Yeah, we actually have a caramel slice trail out here in the west, out in Galway. I can tell you where the best caramel slices are, and they are generally where my 100k routes end up.
Oh, jeepers.
But it has to be done. It has to be done. So you, at the age of 15, were picked up by the Triathlon Ireland Youth Squad, and then you joined Peninsula Tri Club, coached by Chris Spears. Talk to me about how life changed when you started taking up triathlon.
Oh, flip, like where do I start? I think just because I didn't have like a clue kind of where to start, if you know what I mean. Like I was very much guided by the youth squad, which is Stephen Delaney and Lynn Alger at that time. I was guided by them until then. I did come in contact with like Chris and Kerry Spears, like they're my coaches now, and like they're just like my other family to me. I think just like it was kind of like learning how to ride a bike again, because it's so different. Like, I remember the first time I rode my bike with cycling cleats on, and like I fell off. I generally fell off. It just went splat. Like that's already different. And like running then. So obviously triathlon, you have the three, and you kind of swim as a swimmer, you bike as a biker, and you run as a runner. And like trying to fit all of that in and manage all of that as well, because I was GCSEs at that time. So I think like then it was just kind of like learning whether I really wanted to do it, whether I wanted to take it further. And then when I found out that I actually was kind of a half decent little 16-year-old triathlete then, and like seeing this dream of what it could be in years to come, and learning the fact that triathlon's like it is a marathon and not a sprint. And I just think I was like excited to take it on and see where it is going to take me still. But now, my two coaches, Chris and Kerry Spears, they're unbelievable, and they just they keep me right and keep me on track.
You're now 21, so you're 6 years into the sport really of triathlon, going on 7 years. What is it that you love so much about it?
I love that it's hard, and I love the rewards that you get out of it. And I think because it is hard, I like inspiring those young ones, like I said, about the whole swimming thing. Like I can remember my first triathlon, and it was in Sligo, and I came across the line, and I think I actually cried and said, like, this is the hardest thing I have ever done. And I am quite like goal driven and stuff like that. So like, I really don't know. I just love every little part of it. There are the days that you get and they're not all good and you maybe don't want to do a training session, but when you get it done, you're kind of like, well, there's another step towards your end goal. So yeah, no, I love every part of it. Yeah. And I love competing and meeting new people and getting to see different places. And it's not all glamorous at the same time. Like everyone thinks like you're getting to go to all these nice countries, but you don't actually get a lot of time there. You're kind of resting when you can, eating when you can, and then competing and fly home. So yeah, it is hard work behind the scenes that not everyone does see, but it's for me, it's those little times that hard work pays off.
And I presume swimming is still your favorite, or have biking and running overtaken your passion for swimming?
Oh, flip. Well, in the summer, I love open water swimming. I really do. Like whenever I started triathlon, I actually got into open water swimming at the same time. So I don't know. Swimming probably would be my favorite still. Because at the end of the day, that's where I started and where my journey started. But there's nothing better than going for a long run along the coast. And sometimes my boyfriend or my dad will come with me, or sometimes they'll go with me on the bike, and then sometimes they'll run with Chris or the grip or whatever. It's different. And then cycling, I love a good, it's gonna sound bad, but I love a good sweaty hard turbo session or a Zwift race. There's something so good, you feel so good after it. It's yeah, that's a good session, well done. And it's over so quickly, you're counting down the sets. And no, I love that. Yeah, all three of them I just love. And there's the strengthening and conditioning part of it as well that not everyone sees, because not everyone does it. I'm lucky I have Sinai in Jordanstown at Ulster University, and the institute are great there. It helps with recovery and building up strength for the bike, and they're great up there as well. And strength I love because you can kind of work towards little goals in that as well. But yeah, there's so much of it. I do love every part of it.
I love the way you mention absolutely killing yourself on Zwift, and it's obviously different for you being an elite athlete, but for us mere mortals, I don't think I ever work as hard on the road as I do when I'm on Zwift. And I actually needed a puke bucket last night after the WTRL race. Oh my God, and there's no cake at the end of it. There's absolutely no cake. It's lying down on the cold tiles, dying, trying to cool.
Yeah,
but it is great. It is good. And also you mentioned, which I never do, and I'm so bold, I have been really good now the last couple of weeks doing a bit more strength and conditioning and core, but you are right, when it does actually help in every other aspect of your training to have the solid foundations of a good strong core. You're studying sports science in the University of Ulster, your final year, so you are working on your dissertation at the moment. Are you allowed to tell us what your dissertation is on?
I'm kind of doing something nutrition wise at the moment. Yeah, I think it's still kind of in planning and trying to get last little bits in place, but I am sort of going through the nutrition side.
What does a typical week look like for you now? We are, second week of February. The season is very quickly approaching. What does it look like in terms of training, studying? What does a usual week look like?
Well, because of dissertation at the moment, it means we do have reduced classes, and some of those dissertation classes are kind of online, which is so helpful here because it means I don't have to, drive up to uni, and it's an hour to get there, then an hour of class and all of that jazz. So I think it's good that uni is mostly online. So it gives me more time to train and relax and recover and eat. Swimming wise is all kind of in the morning, so that kind of gets it done in the morning time. It's maybe about 4 or 5 times a week, and then I try to get out on the bike outside if the weather flipping plays it right and it's good, probably maybe twice a week. And then obviously I have my turbos, and then running wise I try to do maybe a track session, and then maybe 2 long ones or another session. Again, it is kind of, I don't want to peak too soon, but then because we do have races coming up pretty soon, because again, the Commonwealth Games qualifications coming up, and it's trying to find that balance at the moment of when to peak. And then I have 2 strength and conditioning sessions a week. And yeah, just the rest of the time I try and, relax and then also study at the same time, because as much as I love triathlon and it's a big part of my life, I also find that there has to be a downtime, and there has to be those couple of hours or a day that you have to recover and actually escape from it, because this is a long journey for me and I want this to be in my life for a long time, and hopefully I make some sort of career out of it or whatever, but there has to be that downtime. And so I try to definitely plan some sort of adventure or a chill time away from it. But yeah, a typical week, like it is busy and I don't have much time for anything else really.
When you do make time for yourself, what do you choose to do?
Well, I like going for brunch, and I that's like probably one of my favorite things. And I like going like walks. I sometimes, although I am staying away from it at the moment, I go out on the horses with my mum just but no, just in case anything happens, like it's unlikely that I would fall off, but just kind of staying away from it at the moment. Or like I go on like a little adventure with my boyfriend or something. So yeah, or like family time. Sometimes I just need to relax. So like sometimes it's just nice to stick Netflix on and yeah, just relax.
You talk about making time for yourself, but during COVID, was it really hard to find that outside interest? Because, you know, it's just such a hard time for everybody in lockdown. Were you training more than you were getting downtime, or was it hard to keep your focus, or was it maybe easier to keep your focus?
Yeah, well, I kind of just, as I said before, like I just tried to stay positive over lockdown because at the end of the day, there was nothing that we could do. It was out of our control. I kept in good contact, you know, with Sinai and Chris and Carrie, and I had those close contacts with me to kind of keep me right. I tried to stay in like good routine with good nutrition, and I think I was lucky that I had the pool in my back garden, you know, the blow up ones that kind of everyone was kind of getting into a trend with. So I had that, and I was also lucky that I kind of live in like with those fields and like, you know, country roads. So I was lucky that I could kind of go out for a sneaky run if I could. I know I probably shouldn't say that, but you know, everyone did whenever they could. And I had fields, which I was lucky around. Like at the end of the day, like if it was there, I might as well use it. And then like the bike, I just kind of turboed. But yeah, I just try to kind of stay on that kind of routine. Like downtime wise, then I think we were so lucky with the weather as well that I just sat outside and used that time to kind of relax. And it was good because then uni was kind of cancelled as well. And then, look, I don't know. I think it was horrible for everyone to go through, and I don't think I'd want to go through it again. And luckily, we won't ever have to. But we were all kind of in that situation, and I think everyone had their different ways of doing things. But I kind of just tried to stay positive and change a few things and work on things that maybe I couldn't work on like day to day, every day anyway, like stretching and stuff like that. Like I have now learned how, and even though I've always known how important it was, the fact that I've now literally made it like part of my day, and seeing like how important it is. Yeah, just little different things. And spending time with like my mum and dad, like obviously they were always in the house, so like seeing them, like because now that I am going to be busy coming into race season and stuff like that, like it was nice to still actually spend time with them and see them actually and be able to talk about stuff, you know. And yeah, like it is what it is. I wouldn't go back, but yeah, it was, I learned who I was as a person as well. And I worked like a lot on like my goals and actually what I want to do, and nutrition as well. Like I was in contact with a nutritionist as well, and she like changed little things, and yeah, it's just made me a better person all round, to be honest. Yeah.
Did it almost give you more time to focus on your big sporting goal and give you the space to really look at everything and say, right, this is really what I want to do. This is how I've got to go and get it. And now I have a plan in place to actually achieve it.
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, there was no races obviously on, and nobody really knew what was going to happen. And again, like I had no race plan. So I think that was one of the hard things that kind of got me towards the end of lockdown. And that's when I kind of did have a bit of a downer, to be honest. And because you kind of train throughout lockdown, and then all of a sudden it just hits you and you're kind of like, what am I training for? You kind of forget about those end goals that are so big and like special, and then you kind of forget about them, and then it just hits you. And that's when I did struggle a little bit to say like, what am I training for? And then whenever we started coming out of lockdown and I started finding out that I was getting to go to, I think then it's like the likes of Hamburg I got to go to, like I got a lineup there, which is incredible to get a lineup. But again, it was kind of one of those ones that's kind of hit and miss, where it was incredible to be on such an amazing like start line with so many like incredible athletes, but at the same time I got lapped out as well. So it was kind of like not really the best race because I didn't do well as such, but I was able to take a lot of things from that. But then like the fact that everything's starting to open now and we got to race last year lots, like that's just made it like those bad days like better, if you know what I mean.
And of course, you made your debut last year as an elite international athlete. Talk to me about that.
I know, flip. That was really good because we kind of got like 2 races out of it for the 2 weeks. And I knew obviously going to Kitzbühel and firstly, like anybody that wants to go to Austria in the summer, do it, because like it was incredible. Like I've been lucky enough to go skiing a few times in Austria, and like you're used to like loads and loads of snow, and then landing and it being literally so green. And I did say to one of the girls, like, how can the grass be so green in the summer there whenever it has so much snow, and then we get a tiny bit of snow here and the grass goes to mush. But no, back to kind of the race and stuff, like Kitzbühel was incredible. Like it was again like a big start line of loads of people, and it was like a few days of different races, super sprint races, and it was semi-final and final, which I was lucky enough to get into those. And then the week later, we drove, Stephen drove us up to Walshy or whatever it was, and we did the European Aquathlon Championships there. And like, firstly, I think going into it, I knew that it was probably going to be a huge strength for me to swim. It was a lake swim as well, and like the weather was good, so it was pretty flat. And I think because I hadn't raced like internationally at an aquathon, like I was just taking everything in my stride and like just trying to focus on myself as well. Like throughout the race, I knew there was obviously elites. We were starting, as much as it was broken up into under 23 and elites, like I knew then kind of where I would be in like with everybody. And I remember like getting out of the water and I was like, I'm like literally in like, there was both of us, one of the other Italian girls, and I was like, I'm literally like in a medal position here. If I can just keep running and don't look back, then you can do this. And I think as well, we drove the run course just before, because we obviously drove from Kitzbühel, we were there like a little bit earlier, so we also had all day to spend in the back of the van. And we drove the run course, and it was like just one big 5k lap, and there was a few hills in the back from what I can remember. And throughout that run, like as soon as I got out of the water, I literally just ran. And when I said there, like, I don't look back, I literally didn't look back. I just kept running. And then there was the last kind of 1k, and it was a little bit downhill, and then you kind of went through like a little foresty bit towards the end before you came down towards the finish and I actually got a stitch. I knew I was in second at this point. Oh, sorry, I was in third. And Stephen was actually at kind of like the 1k left marker to go, 4k marker, sorry. And I literally held my side and I was like, is this going to be all over? Like, I'm literally in medal like position here. Like, what am I going to do? And I don't give up. So like for me, like I can actually still remember like this flipping stitch that I had. Like it was so bad. Like it was just like, you know, sometimes even when you like grab it, like it makes it worse. And that's what Stephen kept saying. He was like, don't like leave go of your side, just keep going. And like I did, because like I wanted that medal. Like the fact that I knew I had it and I didn't want to look back, like I wanted the medal so bad. So yeah, whenever I came across the line, like I like don't think I could like believe it. And then I just remember like ringing like everyone at home, and like I was upset because like as much as like it was only an aquathlon, like just the past year and all the hard work, like I said, like these bad times, like just when it all comes together, it's so rewarding for not only me, but like everyone who supports me on the daily, like Chris and Kerry, mum and dad, and boyfriend, and Sinai, and Triathlon Ireland as well, like to come in with a medal. So yeah, I know even now it's sitting, like I have it's kind of a cool little medal thing in my like turbo room where I do my turbos, and like I just see that medal all the time. And even though it wasn't an aquathlon medal, but like at the end of the day, like it's my European medal, and like it just sits there. And like whenever I'm doing a turbo, like I just kind of look at it and like that's what hard work is. And you know, like it is those little things that kind of help you keep like driving towards the end goals. But yeah, last year was incredible, and just in general, like it's those little things that kind of keep you going.
I think you're gassed because you've said twice it's only an aquathlon medal, but it's actually a European aquathlon championship medal, bronze medal in the elite women and a silver medal in the under 23 women's race. I mean, that's incredible.
I know. I think whenever you do say it like that, you kind of like, oops, I didn't mean to say it like that.
No, but what I'm saying is that you're being so humble that you're saying it's only an aquathon, but actually it's on an international stage, and you brought home a bronze medal in the elite women's race and a silver medal in the under 23s. I mean, going into that race, did you have a clue that you would do so well?
Like, I speak to my coach before my races, and I speak to mum and dad and everything. And I think, like, looking at the start list, I was like, I have like raced some of these girls before, and I knew where my swim was at that time. I knew I was kind of on form, but then some of those girls didn't race the triathlon like the week before. Some of those girls also hadn't spent like 4 hours in the back of a van, like just chilling. So I think, like, I don't know, I just went in like open-minded, and like whatever would be. But I think somewhere, like, I'll be honest, somewhere in the back of my mind is like, this is possible. Like, it's definitely, anything's possible if you put your mind to it and your body to it, I guess. But yeah, whenever like I think about it, like, I just kind of go like smiley, like, at the end of the day, yeah, no, it is a European medal, and like, I'm so delighted still just to get it, and it's good, and I just kind of keep working towards another one, hopefully.
Absolutely. I want you to tell me a little bit about doing the elite women's enduro format race in the Super League. That's something that we haven't really heard an awful lot about over here. Obviously, Super League is massive in triathlon, but it was an enduro format. So tell us a little bit about that, because it is very, very exciting.
Yeah, so it was in, I did one in Jersey, and then I also did one in Malta. Malta was my favourite because I got into the semi-final with the elites. And at that stage, I was kind of like, wow, like, this is Sophie Caldwell beside me, like Katie Safiris. And I was actually in the holding room with all of them at that stage. And firstly in the morning, which was the junior one to qualify for that, like, I remember walking back to the hotel with mum. I was like, Mum, I'm actually going to be racing these girls. And then that afternoon, and there was TV cameras and there was everything. And it was kind of like, wow, like, these athletes. And then you kind of, I think it's like what every athlete kind of says, you forget that, I'll say, we're all real people, and like, we're all approachable. Like, we're not just those people you see on Instagram or the TV on the WTS races. Like, we're real people. And I think actually some of them, well, all of them basically, like, they were so approachable, and they actually kind of looked after me, if you know what I mean, as well as whenever you went onto the start line, like, game face was on, like, we were all there to race each other. But that kind of format, like, it was really fun at that time. Again, like, it was all about learning for me. It still is, but at that time, like, I hadn't really been racing that many like European standard triathlons. And it's obviously broken up from what I can remember. It's obviously like the swim, bike, run, and swim, bike, run, I think, for me there was at that race. And it's all broken up into like a mini triathlon. And it kind of worked for me. I really enjoyed it. And it was something so different. And like, going from that run to swim was like the weirdest feeling ever. And I had practiced it before that was before Jersey, and before I went. And you know, when you have those weird jelly legs when you go from bike to run, like, I can't even describe it. Like, it's the weirdest feeling, like, going from run to swim. You just feel like jelly all over. So no, that was really good. And like, Malta was definitely like an incredible place to race. Like, it was just so nice with all the boats, and it was such good weather. And Jersey was the same, but we were caught in really bad weather that year. It's just, the Super League stuff is crazy, because I think it's so important to so many people now, especially because there's a lot of money involved as well. But it's just a little bit of fun at the same time. So yeah, no, I would love to do that again, because it is just so much fun, and it's a good laugh. Yeah.
And you also did the mixed relay European Championships as well. Was that last year?
Yeah, that was in Kitzbühel. We did enter one for Hamburg, but the way it worked, we ended up getting like lapped out. So, but yeah, knew that one in Kitzbühel we did last year. That was so much fun. That was like my first time actually properly doing a relay. I was third to go. So yeah, like, it's, again, like, it's just fast and furious. Like, you were dead at the end of it. It was really warm as well, because we had already raced the individual, like the heat, semi-finals and final then. So we'd already technically done 3 races. So all of us were knackered. And I think, like, as a team, like, we were also supportive of each other. And I think, yeah, it was Maeve to go first, and then Ian, and then myself, and then Sabian. I think that was the order. But I remember like coming across the line, like the way it works, like you have to tap the next person to go on the shoulder, and then they go. So you run back onto the blue carpet if you're that person. And I remember running through and like seeing Sabian. I was like, get me back to Sabian, because like honestly, like, it's just so brutal. Like you just have to run. There's just no, like you just have to keep going. And I remember coming across the line, it was just so hard. And like, yeah, no, it's a really good race as well. Like it's just so, the environment as well with it is class, because yeah, there's just so many athletes and everyone's cheering for different countries. So yeah, no, it's really good as well. It's fast and furious.
And do you ever get nervous, or maybe you do get nervous, and how do you deal with the nerves?
Yeah, no, I get good nerves before a race. I think it's kind of good to get nervous, because like it's a little, like it hypes you up and gets you going. I think as well at European races, like for anyone who's like watched it as well, you know, the parts of the Caribbean, like theme tune that they play beforehand, I actually love it. Like it just, like, I don't know what way to describe it. Like it just gets you going. Like I get excited. Like there's that kind of like good nervous, like, oh, there's the parts of the Caribbean theme music. But yeah, no, I really love it. So that's kind of like the good nerves sort of thing. And then I mean, if there was something to go wrong, I'd probably get like nervous beforehand. But I think it's about controlling like nerves as well. At the end of the day, I think if I wasn't a little bit nervous, there'd be something wrong. But yeah, no, I think the good nerves always. And it's like good to get good nerves even before like a home race, or even before a park run or something like that. I guess it's a little bit like, ooh, we're racing. So
getting on the Zwift race.
Yeah, you get those like good little nervous butterflies.
And then when you cross the finish line, how do you celebrate? As in, what do you do to treat yourself after a race, whether you've had a good race or maybe not so good race? How do you look after yourself afterwards?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one. Probably like a nice dinner, something like that. And it's maybe like the next day or so, because we're usually shattered after a race. Probably maybe a pizza or something if we were away. I guess it's something quick and easy. And probably brunch. Honestly, yeah, I don't know. Probably just relax and like see what I feel like doing. There's no real like, oh, we've got to celebrate or anything like that. I know I went for dinner when I came home after the Europeans. Yeah, no, nothing really special. It's just sometimes if it's an away race, sometimes it's nice just to get home and see everybody and some time with like the animals and the family and stuff like that. Yeah, but there's no real celebrations as such. But yeah, just a nice dinner or something.
Now, I know we've talked about some of the highlights of your racing experience so far, but I know you've also had to deal with some injuries along the way. Talk us through maybe some of those and how you've bounced back from them, or how you dealt with them. Being injured when you're a full-time or an elite athlete can be quite hard on the brain and the body.
Yeah, I think like injuries are definitely one of those things, like they are bound to sort of happen. Like you can kind of go through everything to limit you getting an injury. I think somewhere along your journey you might get something small, like a little niggle here and there. You might end up with an actual injury. Unfortunately, I have had like injuries along my journey so far. Like I've had a stress fracture, and you kind of learn from it as well at the same time. It's hard at the time. You're like, why has this happened? And I think everything happens for a reason. Even like slip back like to COVID, like if I have had COVID this sort of last week, and if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have already started all of my uni work and got a good go on that. So I've kind of put it down like, you know what, Erin, everything happens for a reason. But back to like an injury. Yeah, I think like you kind of can't stop it. Like if it's going to happen, it's hard whenever you go on social media, and during that time you might not be able to go for a run, and then you're seeing somebody has just done an Instagram reel of a really cool run that they've done or something like that, and that is hard on the brain. And I think you just kind of got to listen to your body at that stage and let it fix itself. And there's like lots of other things that you can do. Like whenever I had my stress fracture, like I was able to kind of maybe focus on swimming a bit more and a bit more like upper body strength. And my stress fracture was in my leg at that time, my shins. Yeah, like it is hard. And I've also had times where I've been in hospital. Like I ended up with my appendix out. I had another time I had my cyst on my stomach, and I've also been in twice for like suspected meningitis. And that was a year of Dublin City Triathlon. I think that must have been maybe 2017. And at that stage, you think that, see, when you can't race, you think your life's over, honestly. Like, you think like everything is bad. And I can remember actually watching the live stream. I think you were there as well at that time doing the commentary. And it must, let me think. Yeah, it must have been 2017 or 2018. Okay, it is really hard because you just want to do it then and there. And I think that's when I was told by like my best friend, who also does my nails all the time. So yeah, my best friend, who is Bethy Firth, she's a Paralympian swimmer. She always says to me that if you didn't want to do a session, like, what would you do if you couldn't do it tomorrow? So then that kind of always like drives me to like get your session done when you can. Because I think like what would happen if I was injured tomorrow, you just sit there and think like, what if I had done that session and now I'm injured type thing. But I think there's a lot of things that you can do to prevent an injury, and also if you do get an injury, to not make it as bad as it is. But yeah, I think it's just about staying positive and just remembering the end goals and what will get you there in the end.
I think sometimes with an injury as well, it makes you, when you get back to sport, it makes you realize how grateful you are to be able to do the sport. And I suppose it's different for us as for me and the listeners as age group athletes, that like we get to do this for fun. Slightly different scenario when you're getting to do it for your career and focusing on a long career as a professional athlete. I did get some questions coming in from the audience, but before I go to those, one of the questions I want to ask you, Erin, is in relation to supporting young girls and young boys in sport coming through now. What sort of advice you might give to those athletes coming through and to their parents? Because at this point, at a younger point, maybe between the ages of 12 to 18, parents have such a huge influence on what their kids are doing. So, you know, if we've got anybody listening who's got some aspiring young potential international athletes, what would you say is the best piece of advice to give to them?
I think to make sure you actually enjoy it and to realize that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And I think like if you don't enjoy it, then there's kind of not a lot of point in putting in the hard work, because it is such a hard sport, and it is time consuming, and you know, and it's not cheap either, to kind of throw that in. But I think my main thing would be to like enjoy your sport, because I enjoy every moment of it, even though there are the good days and bad days. But yeah, enjoyment is one of the main things, because you get to meet so many people like along your journey, and yeah, you like learn about yourself as a person as well. So yeah, and it's so good for your head and meeting new people and stuff. So yeah, make sure you enjoy it.
Erin, we had lots of people ask questions on our Instagram page. So I'm going to start with Duathlon Dermot. Erin, why aquathon and not duathlon? Would competing in duathlon not be more beneficial?
Well, I think because I came from a swimming background, I can kind of use swimming as my strength as well. I love doing duathlons in the winter, because it's like good winter training and prep for races for the summer. But I think, yeah, I just had the opportunity to do the aquathlon championship. So yeah, give that a go instead. Yeah.
Any race, anywhere, anytime, Erin will be there.
Yeah.
That's me. That's you. Patrice Holmes says, what advice would you give to a new triathlete?
Firstly, just to take every opportunity as it comes. Probably like, yeah, just get into it and give it a go, and see what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and just train hard. Yeah. Patrice
also asks, is it hard to juggle college and training?
Yes, it is sometimes, because there is like a lot of work to do. And I think at the moment, because I am doing my dissertation, like it is important. But also the fact that I do see triathlon like in my life is so important as well. I do just try to find that balance and between like work as well, because I'll throw that in. Like I do have to work to pay some things as well, college and then training. I think I use then training as an escape from college, and then college a kind of escape from training. I want to do so well in all of them that I kind of just make it work. It is hard, but I just try to make it work.
And were you always so driven? Even in school as a kid, were you always really driven?
Yeah, I'd say so. Probably, or not probably, definitely more driven in sport. Like I've been lucky, whereas like I do try hard in like education and stuff, and I've been lucky that I've had good grades and all of that jazz. But I think sport-wise has definitely been somewhere where I've been driven a lot. And I think whenever I got schoolwork to do, I just got it done like immediately. I remember those homework diaries that you used to get in school, and they used to have the wee done tick mark. And I just remember every time I got a homework, I got done and I got it done quickly so that it was either done for the weekend or done for that week, so that I could go training or whatever. And I think as a sport, whether it was swimming or ice dancing or triathlon now, like I think it has made me such like an organized person. And those things then, because it takes up a lot of time, like I just try to do everything when it comes and just try and stay organized that way. It is a juggle sometimes, and there has been tears as well, like, to be honest. And like it is just about getting it done and trying to manage everything. So yeah.
And of everything that you've achieved in your 21 years of your life to date, what would you say you're most proud of?
Probably be becoming, like, just in general, like results wise, probably my European medal at the aquathon, but in general, just learning about myself as a person and becoming like more organized, and in general, like trying to inspire like younger people, because I've been inspired by people. Like I just try to be happy as well, if that makes sense, and be a good person. Yeah, see where life goes and focus on my goals, especially during lockdown, where I was able to focus on myself and actually learn about myself as a person as well.
I love it. It's just, you're just telling us that you want to be the very best version of yourself.
Yeah,
really.
because I think as well, like there's a difference sometimes between Erin the athlete and Erin the person. Like I am as hard as nails when I'm training. Like I want the best, like, and I train really, really hard. But then whenever like I am not training, or maybe not like doing triathlon as such, like I do like to go shopping. I do like to get my nails done. Like there's the kind of girly version of Erin, and there's always like those two different people. And I think that together as one, like I just want to focus on being me.
Another question for you, and this time it's from Aidan McDonnell. He says, any tips for getting out of a training motivation rush? And this might help all of us.
Probably like just make sure that you have a goal. So try and find a goal, whether it's small, big, or whether it's a few weeks away, a few months down the line. Like just try and focus on that one goal or a few goals and train towards that. And again, that thing that I sometimes use for motivation, like, what if you couldn't do it tomorrow? So like, what if that was suddenly taken away from you? Like, what would you do? And it's sort of like, as much as I hate to say it, it's sort of like an emotional blackmail to yourself. Like what happens if you don't do it now? Like what happens if you couldn't do it tomorrow type thing. So yeah, I kind of use that sometimes. And again, like always your end goal. So like for me is hopefully like Commonwealth Games or the Olympics, and yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no, definitely just try and stay motivated. Even sometimes little quotes in your training room, that sometimes helps as well.
Very good. Now, you briefly mentioned the Commonwealth Games. So tell me, what are the plans for the future? What are you hoping for? I know Birmingham isn't that far away. What is the situation with the Commonwealth Games?
Commonwealths are in July this year, and at the moment there is only one space. So that's literally one space, like not for one male, one female, one space. And I think there's like a few athletes up north, like, and we all want to go. And at the moment that one space is only on offer. So there'll be a few early races at the start of the season. I think the first one's five weeks away in France. All being well, that'll go ahead. I think that the nomination and criteria has been set now, that I think we just all kind of have to see what happens and try and build point here and there to see what happens. And I think like as much as there only is that one space at the moment, like I think all of us, like I'd speak from all three of us, we've just all got to keep chasing like the goal for ourselves. I want to go like so much. So like I'm just going to keep focusing and training hard and try and do my best in those races. But yeah, hopefully there is two spaces for a few of us to go. But at the moment it is only that one space.
And then of course Paris is only 2 years away. Is that on the cards as well?
100%. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's definitely not going to be easy, but definitely my lifestyle will probably change a little bit as well before then. And we've got a lot of points to chase. It's going to be a different journey in itself. But I'm really looking forward to that. And again, that's my end goal. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going towards that.
Now, you mentioned quite a few times about wanting to be an inspiration for younger people, and that you've been inspired by others throughout your triathlon journey. So my question for you, and it's my final question, who have been the biggest inspirations in your life? Is there one individual, or maybe there are a couple of people that maybe have inspired you to go chase your goals and dreams in sport?
I think there always is that, like, there's those few people as athletes that inspire you, like triathletes or other swimmers and stuff. But I think for me, like the people that are close to me at home inspire me. Like my mum and dad, like they have supported me the whole way through this journey and will continue to. So like they inspire me. And then my two coaches, like I'm so close with them, and again they inspire me in a different way because I want to do well for myself, but also because they've helped me so much. Like I want to inspire them, and my friends and like my boyfriend around me, again the same thing. Like they help me in so many different ways, and everyone comes together and it's that one team. So they inspire me every day to like do well or to do my training. And I think like that end goal will also, as much as it's going to be like 99% a reward for me, but that also like kind of 1% will be for them as well. But for inspiring like younger people, like it's the ones below me that I have already heard. And I'm not very good at explaining sort of things, I guess, but I'm only 21 and I have so many years ahead in triathlon. And for younger ones to come to me already to be like, hello Erin, like I remember I was at a competition at home not that long ago, and a few little ones came up to me and asked me for a photograph, and I was kind of like, for me that's like something I would have done to like maybe like an older 20, like a high-end 20-year-old. But I was like, I'm only 21 and they want a photograph of me. And I think that that's so special to like for them to come up. And it's kind of like whenever, I think maybe it's more photographs now, but before it's maybe like autographs or whatever. And like for them to be doing that now, I think it's just really special. And it's kind of like, it's just really, really nice. And I do want to inspire younger ones. And I do also want to inspire older people as well. My mum says to me, like, I'm like her inspiration as well, because like I managed to find time for everything. Just everyone around me and those people close to me are definitely my biggest inspiration, as well as those ones that have done well in different sports.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I wish you all the best of luck with the journey towards the Commonwealth Games and to Paris 2024. And I look forward to seeing what unfolds for the 2022 season ahead. Sure, God knows where you'll end up this year.
I know. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can get in touch with any feedback or guest suggestions by emailing me on trytalkingsport@gmail.com. You can follow all of our activities and podcasts on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram. Pop by, say hi, let me know what you think of the show. And if you are new to Try Talking Sport, please do check out some of our previous episodes. You will be both impressed and inspired by our guests. Finally, be sure to sign up to our new e-zine featuring articles of interest, some great discounts and the inside track on supporting your triathlon and endurance sport journey, wherever it may take you. Sign up on www.trytalkingsport.com. It takes 30 seconds and I promise I won't bombard your inbox with emails, just the important stuff. Until next time, stay safe, keep smiling, and remember to look for fun and adventure in every day.